present us an alternative. They want a Republican in the generation for big war that's coming up. My theory indicates that we're going to have a major Third World War coming probably at the end of this next decade, and they're going to want a Republican president in there who's capable of whipping up knee-jerk patriotic reaction. I think they may give, let me put it this way, if they run Sarah Palin, I think she's a weak candidate. They've got all kinds of dirt on her that they can bring out when and if they want to destroy her. If they run Sarah Palin for the Republicans, I think they're going to give Barack Obama another 4 years.
All right, stay there. Let's continue to see your geopolitical mapping and projecting out with your future trends forecast. You've made a lot of really accurate breakdowns in the past. Joel Skousen, the editor of WorldAffairsBrief.com, is our guest. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com.
Alex Jones here with urgent information concerning TrendsResearch.com. The Trends Journal distills the voluminous ongoing research of the Trends Research Institute into a concise, readily accessible form. By tracking 300 separately defined domestic and international trends, the Trends Journal establishes the connections that others fail to see or misinterpret. Gerald Salente's Trends Journal allows you to anticipate change, recognize the implications, and take protective strategies. Individual readers from every walk of life can put the Trends Journal, Trends Forecast, and Trends Analysis to practical use. Extra information to keep you well informed throughout the year when any current event of major social, economic, or political significance occurs. Trends Journal notifies its subscribers of their implications. When you subscribe to the Trends Journal, you'll also receive Trends Alerts. Visit TrendsResearch.com today. That's TrendsResearch.com. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. This information is too important to wait.
You may be arrested and/or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones asking you for a minute of your time to tell you about soap. Not detergents, but good old-fashioned pure soap made by the Cal Ben Soap Company, a family-owned and operated American company. My family, staff, friends, and radio listeners are constantly telling me how much they love these products for bath, hair, laundry, and dishes. There is nothing like these factory-direct, big money-saving, triple-concentrated soaps anywhere. Get a free detailed catalog by calling 800-340-7091 or see them online at 5starsoap.com or Infowars.com. Let's talk to the owner of 5 Star Soap, Marty Schachter, and see what he has to say.
As founder and owner for over 63 years, people keep asking me, how's business? I'm happy to say our business is going down the drain. Call us at 1-800-340-7091 or visit our website, 5starsoap.com, for buying our 1 to 2 month soap sampler. Thank you.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Joel Skousen is a political scientist by training, specializing in the philosophy of law and constitutional theory. He's also a designer of high-security residences and retreats. He's a self-sufficient and high-security homes throughout North America. He has consulted in Central America as well. His latest book in the field is Strategic Relocation North American Guide to Safe Places. He's active in consulting with persons who need to relocate for security reasons. And it goes on. Joel was raised in Oregon, later served as a fighter pilot for the U.S. Marine Corps during Vietnam era, prior to beginning his design firm specializing in high security. And, of course, was it an uncle that wrote one of the best-selling books exposing the whole globalist takeover plan?
That's correct. My uncle was W. Cleon Skousen, who first of all started out with a very, very excellent historical book called The Naked Communist. That was in the days that conservatives thought that communism was the real problem. He woke up sometime in the 60s and noted that, in fact, the capitalists, which turned out to actually be globalists, not real, honest, true free market capitalists, were running the communists and facilitating them. And so he wrote the book The Naked Capitalist, which was a blockbuster, started the entire understanding in the world about conspiracy theory relative to our own government.
Well, that's right. And now it's declassified what he wrote about, and what other investigators in Congress brought out, and Anthony Sutton exposed as well.
That's right.
That Hitler had been funded by mainly England, that the U.S. had helped put the Bolsheviks in, that they helped put Mao in, and now that's been declassified. I mean, that's on the History Channel. They create the crisis to offer the solution, and it's robber barons who want a global, consolidated, anti-free market system, and now we're coming to the end of the road on that. And I remember being about 10 years old, and I could really start to read good, that the Naked Communist and the Naked Capitalist were on the bookshelf at my dad's parents, at my fraternal grandparents' house. And I remember reading part of that book when I was there for a week during the summer, and that being one of the catalysts to understanding what was happening. Then I read None Dare Call a Conspiracy when I was about 14. And then I went out and researched real history and found out it was very accurate. But for those that just joined us, getting back into their long-term strategic goal with Obama, it's as if they want him to come in, get their agenda through, but then really anger the public, so they go with a fake right-wing candidate, as you were saying, lining up for World War III. Please continue with what you see coming in the near future for the United States and the world. Then we'll get into the domestic control grid they're putting into place. Well,
that's exactly right. What I was heading for is that they always create a reaction to these policies. The economy cannot be solved, at least not with Keynesian economics or government-controlled interference. It can't be solved with the Fed having fiat monetary powers. And so they know that eventually they're going to have a backlash against anyone who comes in and promises change and success, whether it's the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. None of that stuff ends up nice. So in the backlash, they're always preparing someone else on the opposite side, Team B, as I call it. They have Team A and Team B. They control both sides. And they are setting us up right now in the Republican side of the spectrum for this backlash against Obama. And it's very telling, as I point out in my World Affairs Brief analysis. If they pick someone like Palin, who is extremely vulnerable, who has, she's got good charisma, they've been giving her a lot of play on Fox, which is the false conservative network, in my opinion. And they're also building up Newt Gingrich. They're also keeping Mike Huckabee right there in the forefront. They're keeping Mike Huckabee on tap, so that if Mitt Romney, a non-conspirator, ends up making a big, strong play, they've got a way to throw him out of the equation, like they did last election. Are you saying Mitt Romney's good? No, I'm not. I'm saying that he is not a knowing conspirator with the people. They can't afford to let someone as smart as Romney, even though he's bending over backwards to try to be one of them, he isn't. And there's a reason for that. And that is, he's too ambitious. He wants to be president. Those people we never trust to be honest conservatives. But being as smart as he is, if he did get into president, he'd be like Reagan. He'd see too much. He wants to do what's popular because he understands he doesn't want to be destroyed. Well, that's right. But he also, he does have some principles, and they don't have a lot of dirt on him, so they can't twist his arms. Now, how does Ron Paul play in, though? Because you gave a speech a few years ago that I agreed with, saying don't go with Mitt Romney, go with Ron Paul. How does the Ron Paul card play into this? Well, the Ron Paul card played very strongly in a major episode that happened in 2008 or 2007, actually. He was responsible, in my opinion, for the entire intelligent estimate that came out and said that Iran had dismantled or not gone through with their nuclear program. They had to have an excuse to get out of their planned attack on Iran because it would have accrued to the benefit of the anti-war movement, and yet an anti-war candidate in the Republican running for president. And so I believe Ron Paul's presence stopped them from going through with Iran. Now they've switched sides, switched the intelligence. But Ron Paul is even stronger now. He's been so vindicated. He is so much a household name now. They've got a real problem because he's running for president again. And so they're going to have to undermine Ron Paul with double the support that he had before, plus the fact they're going to have to work against Mitt Romney, who's got a lot of money to put himself back in. Once again, as I say, it's not that Mitt Romney is a trustworthy conservative candidate, but he is somebody the establishment has to work hard to make sure he doesn't get into office. So it's either, in my opinion, going to be Palin or Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich is also on the other side. He's a betrayer. He came from the left. He never was a conservative. He's a globalist.
He's written books calling for world government and cashless societies. And, I mean, this guy wants carbon taxes.
That's right. But remember, they tried to shove Rudolph Giuliani down the conservatives' throat in 2008. It didn't fly. That's why they had to resurrect McCain with 6 endorsements right in the middle of the campaign to get him. And they, it was a disaster, but they at least got Romney out. That's what they wanted to do with McCain, so that Romney couldn't fill the vacuum by the demise of Rudolph Giuliani. But in this case, they have a true globalist, a Newt Gingrich, which they're trying to float to the American people. But that's why I say, if they end up allowing Palin to get the Republican nomination, in my opinion, it means they're going to give Barack Obama another 4 years.
No, I agree with you. I mean, she is definitely was built up, then destroyed, now been built back up again, and they are deploying her to try to take over the Tea Party, discredit it, and throw the election. And so if they go with Palin, we know they're getting ready to throw the election to Barry Soetoro.
I agree completely. And if they go with Newt Gingrich, then Barack Obama's out. We're going to get a Republican warmonger in there who's going to take us to another level. Now, in my long-term analysis, I feel that the issue is not so much directly Iran, and that war is coming. But that's not going to lead to World War III, in my opinion. I think that's going to lead to a larger regional war that's going to allow Israel to clean up and create, at the same time, an increased hatred in the world for both the United States and Israel. Will be looked upon as the bullies of the world. This plays then into the long-term globalist agenda of handing Russia and China their final excuse to finally take out the bully of the world. Now, I think North Korea is being preserved with kid gloves. You notice how they never put any real...
To be used as a future detonator.
This is the future trigger event of World War III. That's what I think North Korea is being preserved for. And Iran is only something that will continue to exacerbate the hatred of the Muslim world and the Slavic world against the United States and make us look like the bully of the world. And it will clean up and control oil assets. There's a lot of complexity there. But let me get back to the ultimate view of how we view the CIA and all of this. Now, Wayne Madsen has some very, very good analysis. He does come from a bit of a leftist agenda. And so he and other leftists tend to always view the evil of capitalism and the CIA as the evil monster which has basically done a coup on the United States and taken over the government. I disagree with that. I think that there's a larger conspiracy which is built of these globalist leaders.
Well, of course. I mean, the CIA is just one deployment cog in the globalist system.
That's correct. The CIA is the implementer of those things. It is not the controller. And that's what we have to understand. This is not a CIA coup. These people are taking...
Well, we know the Council on Foreign Relations takes Club of Rome Bilderberg documents and admits that they then write the bills in whole, whether it's Homeland Security, immigration reform, banker bailout, and word for word, it's then passed into law. They're openly there writing the policy. Hillary goes to the CFR and says, thank you for giving me my orders.
Well, it's like James Jones told the Munich Security Conference in February. We at the National Security Council take our daily